Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Before we dive in, a quick word from our sponsor. You've probably heard of the AAPA Salary Report, but did you know it's the most comprehensive PA salary resource on the market? That's because it's not just a list of PA salaries. It's an interactive tool that allows you to quickly compare salaries and bonuses across states, specialties, settings, years of experience, even cost of living. Just a few clicks and your data is ready to print and share with your employer. See how your salary stacks up. The AAPA Salary Report is available now at aapa.org. Now back to the show. Welcome back, everyone, to PA the FI Way. I'm your host, Kat, and I'm excited to be back on the podcast today. I had missed the time frame for the last episode because my husband and I are currently on a 6-week road trip. And right now, I'm saying hi to you from Gulf Shores, Alabama. We decided to take this road trip from Minnesota, do this southeastern road trip to Tennessee to visit my husband's family members, and then over to North Carolina to visit a PA friend who had moved there, South Carolina to visit more of my husband's family. And then eventually we went down to Georgia and Florida, and now we're in Alabama. But tomorrow morning we'll be packing up and driving to New Orleans a few hours away. So I am super excited to see any of you that will be at the conference. If you happen to see me, stop by and say hi. I also created these stickers that I'm going to be taking to the conference, PA the FI Way stickers. You can see them here on video, and they're just a little nerdy and kind of fun. So if you are interested in grabbing your sticker, feel free to stop me, say hi, and I'm happy to give you one as well. In today's episode, I am going to talk about a topic that will benefit you at any conference that you go to, or it will benefit you when you're seeing your patients or when you are simply talking to your family members as well as your friends. And that topic is conversation as well as communication. How can you be a great conversationalist? Back in episode 172, I talked about some concepts of anti-networking that you can also utilize at a conference if you, again, are going to AAPA or a different conference coming up soon. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, go ahead and check it out. This episode has further information, and there might be a little bit of overlap, but for the most part, it has further skills for you to utilize when you are communicating. And if you've been following along, you know that I've been reading this book, The 5 Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom, and I did finally complete it. I've been reading it for several months, and the information that I'll cover today does come from that book as well. Again, if you have not yet grabbed your copy, make sure that you do that. I will include a link for it in the show notes, as well as the description on YouTube. You can grab the audiobook, or you can even get on the list for your library to rent the book too. But again, there have been so many great pieces of information in this book, including really wonderful life skills that will help you not only as a human, but also as a clinician, be a better partner and friend and family member, those types of things as well. When you hear the word communication, you most likely think that it is all about talking. However, communication includes things like presence, attention, curiosity, and especially emotional connection, not just speaking words. You can think of many aspects where these skills would be helpful. For example, working as a PA in healthcare, you have to communicate all day long, not only with your patients, but also your team members, such as your MAs or nurses, other PAs and Ps, your collaborating physician or supervising physician, admin, your leadership, all sorts of people you're communicating with. You also need to communicate in business. If you have a business on the side or you're creating a business, you need to communicate throughout your marriage, throughout your friendships, when you are networking and meeting new people. Even if you are parents, when you're communicating with your children, that is a time that you could utilize skills too. So these skills will take you beyond the surface level interactions of communication and teach you how to create more in-depth conversations that can deepen relationships, help you with burnout because it'll help you communicate more effectively with limited time, and create a richer life for you. Imagine this situation. This may sound familiar to some of you. You can spend your entire day talking to people. You can be talking to your spouse in the morning, your kids in the morning. You can be talking to your patients all day, and yet you can still feel disconnected from those around you. You can chart all day. You can attend meetings. You can be responding to patient messages through the portal. You can even come home and try to spend time talking to your family, but you may never truly feel seen or really deeply connected with them. And a lot of that has to do with conversations nowadays are truly rushed. They can feel transactional, distracted, even performance-based. But what if conversation is one of the best things that you can do to build wealth over time? Not only financial wealth in the sense of making connections with those you trust, network, and that could lead towards great investment opportunities outside of traditional investments, but especially social wealth and mental wealth. Having those conversations improve those types of wealth too. And these skills can be utilized both by extroverts who love meeting new people and talking their ears off, and introverts who might feel a little bit more shy or don't necessarily want to talk about everything to everyone all the time too. And they can feel a little bit drained easier than extroverts. Both people on the spectrum can utilize these skills too, because they each have different challenges when they're trying to communicate with new people. The first step in effective communication is learn to create doorknobs during conversations instead of hard stops for conversations. An example of a hard stop question is basically a yes or no type of question, or you ask them a question and it just leads to a very simple answer. An example could be if you're talking to a new PA that you're meeting, instead of asking them, "What specialty do you work in?" and they simply reply with family medicine or psychiatry, dermatology, etc. Instead, you could ask them a doorknob type of question that opens the door for them to have further conversation and elaborate with more details. You could ask them, "What led you to choosing the specialty that you practice in?" Then they would answer not only with their specialty, but again, they would do some storytelling, sharing more about themselves, and you would get this widened lensed view of them and their lives and what led to their decisions. That doorknob type of question leads to further discussion. It breaks away from the surface level conversation and allows you to dig deeper with that conversation too. Some of this was discussed in that last episode about anti-networking that I had mentioned earlier, but some conversation starters that you can include when you're meeting new people would be questions like, what are you most excited about now, either personally or professionally? What is your favorite thing about your role? What is the most interesting that you've read or learned recently? Again, that could be things within our PA profession, medically, or personally without our PA profession. I encourage you to practice utilizing doorknob conversations with people that you're meeting, with your patients, people throughout your life, where you are inviting them to open that door and share more information instead of the simple answer from the question that you want to ask them. That's the easy question, and that only leads to superficial conversation. The next step to being an effective communicator and learning to become a great conversationalist is to be a loud listener. And you might be saying, Kat, what in the world does loud listener mean? You think that listening means you're keeping your mouth shut and being quiet, right? So being a loud listener, that sounds counterintuitive, right? However, if you become a loud listener, you are showing the person that you're talking to that you are engaged with them, that you are tracking and understanding what they're saying, and that you care about what they're saying. This allows people to feel like they can emotionally open up with you because they feel as though you're connecting and emotionally receiving what they have to say. Some examples of loud listening can look like nodding along, leaning in, making sure that you can hear them, especially For example, in the expo hall at a conference center, it can be really hard to hear people. Utilizing appropriate facial expressions, provide verbal encouragement, such as, I see, I understand, tell me more. So all of that can be broken down into 3 different components. The first is sounds. Again, you can be speaking back even while you're listening. You can say, yes, I see, tell me more, right? Those words of encouragement allow them to continue their story, continue to share what they're trying to tell you. The second component is facial expressions. You can utilize your facial expressions to be a loud listener. I do this all the time during my telemedicine psychiatry visits with my patients. For example, they might be sharing a crazy story about something that happened. Maybe they had a vacation that went horribly wrong, or maybe they had something really exciting happen to them. Or maybe, unfortunately, they are sharing traumatic events that happened to them in the past. All of those instances, I can be changing my facial expressions as I'm listening virtually through the computer. I raise my eyebrows. Sometimes I open up my eyes further. Sometimes I'm furrowing my eyebrows a little bit. Sometimes I'm smiling. Sometimes I have a more empathetic facial expression. It just kind of depends upon, obviously, what they're sharing with me. And besides sounds, facial expressions, the next step is body language. Again, lean in close to them. Make sure that you are facing them openly. Don't have your arms crossed across your chest. Don't be angled one direction, looking like you're trying to exit the conversation. All of those components can allow you to be a loud listener. The third step with effective communication is the repeat and follow method. The repeat part means that you are repeating part of what they are saying in your own words back to them. And the follow part of that method means that you are following it up with either a doorknob type of question, a insight that you have, or another story. And the repeat and follow method can help that conversation progress along over time. For example, your patients might say, I just don't feel like myself anymore. And if you're like me, you clearly want them to clarify what in the world they're talking about. So you might say, not like yourself? Could you tell me more about what you mean by that? Or you could say, you recently traveled to that national park. What was your favorite thing about that? What was your favorite thing that you did or saw there? This method can help build rapport more quickly. It can help the conversations feel more natural as you're progressing along. It can encourage vulnerability depending upon the topic. It can reduce awkwardness, and it can create emotional depth as well. And besides creating doorknobs with conversations, being a loud listener, and using the repeat and follow method, the fourth step is to make situational eye contact, and especially effective and good eye contact. Eye contact can absolutely be nuanced for many reasons, because if you utilize too little, it can make you feel distracted or disengaged, not connected, or that you want out of the conversation. If you utilize too much eye contact, it can feel intense, unnatural, even a little out there for some people. So the goal is to have this balance of eye contact, and it can be challenging for some. You want to find the balance that indicates warmth and presence, and yet eye contact can vary on things like culture, neurodivergence, personality, emotional intensity, the topic being discussed, the environment. So there are a lot of factors that come in with making eye contact. In general, when you are listening, that's a great time to be making eye contact with the person who is speaking. If you are talking to family members or friends in person, put the phone away, look up from the phone and have the conversation, making eye contact, not looking away. And if you are the person that is speaking, it is okay to gaze off or look up when you are thinking or when you are having that conversation. If you're trying to recall a detail, it's very normal to have eye contact that wanders throughout the conversation when you are the speaker, for sure. Regardless, whether you are the speaker or the listener, avoid trying to scan around the room with your eyes and look disinterested. If someone waves at you out of the corner of your eye, it's reasonable to go ahead and wave back, but yet come back to the person that you are speaking to. Keep that person engaged, make them continue to feel like they are connecting with you and not that they are intruding on your time or your space. Those are the 4 steps to having effective communication and being on the path to becoming a great conversationalist. I also want to add this other framework that I learned about through the book too, that is incredibly insightful and wonderful. And I've actually encouraged some of my patients to try it too. And this framework is especially important for the people that are in a relationship that feel as though their partner or spouse is not listening to them at all, feels as though they're not understanding what they're trying to say, feels as though they want to try to jump to helping them solve the problem, but that is not what the person wants or needs. And this framework is called the helped, heard, or hugged framework. And again, it's really great for the people to utilize saying this when they are the ones that tend to come from the fixer mentality. For many people, that could be the husband in the relationship, but I personally do have that fixer mentality in the sense of, oh, you're telling me that something is wrong. You have a problem. You are upset about a situation. I want to so badly just jump in and start trying to fix the issue or offering advice, right? But more often than not, that's not what people need. And again, whether this is a relationship with your spouse, whether it is even your siblings could be an example, your parents, your kids, or perhaps your patients, depending upon the situation. Think about this framework and think about ways that you could utilize it. So, for example, let's say you are a guy listening to this episode and your wife comes home from a really hard, long day at work. And she starts venting about her day at work. She starts decompressing. She verbally spills all this information, and you can tell that she's appearing upset. You can tell it was a really hard day for her. Maybe she even starts crying. Many people in that situation might jump to trying to offer words of advice or trying to say, well, this job is horrible. Go ahead and switch to a different job. Or why are you still working there anymore? Or things like that, where they're trying to fix the problem because they think the problem is the job, right? Well, the wife in that situation might not actually want to be helped. That's the first part of that framework. So if the husband asks, I hear that you are upset and I understand that this was a rough day for you. Would you like to be helped, heard, or hugged? Then the wife has a moment to think about what would actually help her in that moment. For example, helped is the fix it part, meaning that she would want some help from him trying to figure out how could they make this better. Maybe she needs to consider cutting back her hours. Maybe she feels so stressed with time and doesn't have time to also pick up the kids after school and make dinner. And a way that her husband could help her would be to start dinner too. That is a way that they're fixing the problem together instead of the husband just assuming that that's what she wants done. But perhaps your wife simply wanted to be heard. There are many times that I have come home and just vented, right? And in that situation, it's just that I want someone to hear me about my rough day. I feel like I get to do this emotional unloading. And once I talk about it and have that opportunity to vent, I'm okay to move on because it's like the situation was not great. It was not fun. This is why I had a hard day and it was upsetting. And yet I can be done with that and put that behind me and move on, right? So, for example, sometimes the situation might be helpful for the wife to say that they just want to be heard, meaning that the husband in that situation would do better to just listen and say, okay, I understand. Listen fully, use the loud listening techniques, validate the emotions and the feelings, reflect back what your wife is saying, but avoid trying to fix that problem, especially in that moment. Maybe in the future, the two of you think about fixing the problem or helping the problem be better down the road. But in that moment, only hear, only listen. Don't jump to the fix it mentality. And then the third part of that framework is hugged. Sometimes the wife, only in that situation, just wants to feel supported by her husband. And that could look like a physical hug from her husband, meaning having her husband hug her and say, I understand that was a hard day and I'm here for you. That shows that he is supportive of you and that he's in your corner and that he loves you no matter what, no matter if you had a hard day or not. And for some people, that physical connection, that physical touch can be so incredibly important. So it could look like physical hugging, or it could even look like emotional or theoretical hugging in the sense of providing encouragement, affection, empathy, reassurance, and presence overall. Now, this framework is ideal if both people are aware of what that framework is, because in the heat of the situation, the wife might not understand the question if she has never heard of that framework before. So, for example, if you are in a relationship and you want to try this in the future, it's ideal to have that conversation ahead of time and say, hey, I learned about this framework that I think could help us have more effective communication when one of us is upset or one of us has a problem. And just talk through it simply so that in the future, in the moment, the two of you can understand and be on the same page when one person is coming to them with a problem and being upset. To wrap up, these skills can be effective across many areas of your life, and they can also help with reducing and preventing burnout too. So I encourage you to try one of these this upcoming week and see how it goes. Once you build and create and develop that muscle, add another one to that layer and add another one to that stack and keep going and going and going as you continue to improve your skills, being a conversationalist, and with communication over the years to come. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this through a podcasting platform, I invite you to leave a comment with which of these you're going to try this week. You can leave a comment. You can go to my social media on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn and comment which of these skills you're going to practice so that you can learn these techniques and create these habits over time. I also invite you to subscribe to the show, to share with a family member, a colleague, a friend, anyone that you feel like would find this conversation helpful too. And again, if you're going to be at AAPA this week, I'll be there, getting there later on Friday and have to leave on Tuesday. So I'll be there primarily Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Please stop by and say hi. Don't forget to grab your sticker. For those who are listening, this sticker says PA the FI way, RX Financial Independence, SIG Take Daily, Start Early, Refills Unlimited, Side Effects are Options, Freedom, and Burnout Prevention.
Thank you for tuning in.
Again, completely nerdy, but also kind of fun. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I'll see you back here soon.
Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on. But more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time,